Before you send it, understand what it really says. That message you're staring at right now, it's not just a "hey." It's not innocent. It's not casual. It's a silent confession. It says, "I still need you. I'm still thinking about you. I'm still waiting." You might not say those words out loud, but that's exactly what the message carries beneath the surface. Folks, listen close. When you text someone who's rejected you, ignored you, replaced you, or strung you along, you're not reaching out for connection. You're reaching out for confirmation. You're not trying to talk. You're trying to be remembered. You just want proof that you still matter to them. And I get it. That urge is strong. It feels like a little itch in the back of your mind that won't shut up until you scratch it. You think maybe if you just send one small message, maybe they'll finally respond how you hoped they would. But let's be real. How many times have you tried that before? How many times did it change anything? Exactly. The message doesn't pull them closer. It pushes them further. Why? Because it reminds them you're still there, still available, still waiting in the same spot they left you. And if they didn't value you then, what makes you think they'll respect you now that you're proving you haven't moved an inch? Sending that message isn't just harmless, it's a self-erasure. It deletes the mystery. It deletes the strength they should have felt when you went silent. It deletes the chance for them to wonder, to regret, to actually miss you. You don't miss what's always available. You miss what's suddenly gone. If they can predict your next move, they'll never feel urgency about you. If they know you'll text eventually, they won't fear losing you. And if they don't fear losing you, they'll never come back. My friends, don't let your emotions con you into self-betrayal. Just because something feels urgent doesn't mean it is. You're not weak, you're just wounded. But wounds heal faster when you stop picking at them. That text isn't medicine. It's poison wrapped in comfort. You're not reaching out to get better. You're reaching out to avoid silence. But silence, when done right, is the sharpest tool you've got. It's the sound of self-worth. It's the voice of power. It's what creates the space for them to remember what they lost. Think of it like this. Imagine walking out of a burning building only to run back inside because you forgot your sweater. That text is the sweater. And that burning building, that's the situation you've been trying to escape. Don't go back in. Let it burn. Let the silence roar. You don't need closure. You don't need answers. You don't need one last conversation. What you need is clarity. And clarity doesn't come from them. It comes from you not needing them anymore. When you stop proving your presence, they start noticing your absence. The moment you stop trying to be remembered is the moment you become unforgettable. And that, my friends, is the truth nobody tells you. So put the phone down. Let the silence do what your words never could. Stop rescuing people who left you drowning. Stop handing out access to people who fumbled your loyalty. You are not a backup plan. You are not a maybe. You are not disposable. You are the storm they didn't prepare for. And when it finally hits them, it won't be soft. It'll be a quiet, brutal realization. They lost you for real. If you're still here, good. That means part of you already knows the truth. You don't need to send that message. You just needed someone to remind you of your worth. So let's make this real. Not just in your head, not just in your chest, but out loud. For the algorithm, for the world, for you. Go down to that comment box right now and type this out like you mean it. I hold the power. Not I want the power. Not maybe one day I'll feel powerful. No, say it like it's already yours. Because it is. And the moment you put it in writing, something shifts. The hesitation starts to die. The silence starts to feel like strategy. The pain starts turning into purpose. This isn't a casual suggestion, this is a call-out. If you're done shrinking for someone who can't see your value, prove it, write it, claim it, lock it in. Then smash that like button like you're slamming the door on your old self. Hit subscribe if you're ready to stop breaking for people who don't even flinch. And stay with me. This isn't the end, it's the ignition switch. Number 1. The echo effect. How they feel the loudest when you go quiet. So here's where most people get it twisted. They think silence means nothing's happening, that if you're not saying anything, then you're being forgotten, that if you don't text, call, check in, remind them of your existence, you'll disappear. But that's not how the human mind works. That's not how you work, and it's not how they work either. In fact, when you go quiet, truly quiet, it doesn't erase you. It multiplies you. Welcome to what I call the echo effect. You see, our brains are wired to complete patterns. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And in relationships, this is exactly what happens. There's a rhythm to how we engage with someone, the way you reply, the way you show up, the way you comfort them, chase them, forgive them, fold for them. It becomes a pattern, a predictable emotional rhythm. And once that rhythm is established, the brain craves it, even if it's toxic. But when that pattern is suddenly broken, when you stop responding, when you fall off the map, their mind doesn't just move on. It spins, it replays, it spirals. This is the echo effect. It's not your words that echo, it's your absence. It's the sudden void where your responses used to live. It's the silence that replaces your good mornings, your check-ins, your apologies, your soft landings. That silence becomes louder than any message you could have sent. It fills the gaps in their day. It screams during the quiet moments they didn't expect to feel anything. Because once you're gone, their brain starts looking for the pattern again. Why aren't they reaching out? Did they finally move on? Are they seeing someone new? The questions don't stop because you stopped. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, if this is true, why haven't they reached out yet? That's a fair question, but remember, they're stubborn, not numb. They're prideful, not unaware. They might not text, but they're feeling it. They just don't want to be the first to break. They're hoping you will. They're hoping you'll break the silence like you always do. They're gambling that you'll fold before they feel the consequences of their actions. That's why you must stay still. Because silence isn't just absence, it's pressure. And pressure bursts pipes, or in this case, illusions. Let me give you a metaphor to bring this home. Think of a hallway with motion-activated lights. As long as someone keeps walking, the lights stay on. There's movement, there's energy, there's clarity. But the second they stop walking and no motion is detected, everything goes dark. That darkness, that's what your silence creates. And in that darkness, their imagination starts running wild. What are you thinking? What are you doing? Are you done waiting? Have you upgraded? This is what the echo effect really is. It's their own mind becoming your spokesperson. You don't have to say a word. The silence says it all, and their guilt translates it perfectly. Still, I know what your heart might be asking. What if they don't care? What if my silence doesn't affect them? Let me answer you plainly. It does, but not always in the way you expect. See, some people pretend they don't miss you because acknowledging your absence would mean admitting they messed up. And their ego would rather lose you forever than admit they were wrong. That's not your problem. Your silence is still working. Because while their ego speaks for now, their soul listens in the background. And the soul always hears the echo, especially at night, when they're alone, when the show's over, when the noise fades, and the real questions start creeping in. What you have to remember is this: you're not waiting to be remembered. You already are. You're not trying to leave a mark. You are the mark. People forget noise, but they never forget silence, especially when that silence used to be warmth, presence, love. You were their mirror, their comfort, their ego boost. When you remove that, they're forced to look at who they are without your validation. And spoiler alert, it's not a version they like. So yes, it's going to be hard. There will be moments you want to reach out just to check if they even noticed you're gone. That's your survival brain talking, your need for certainty. But Stoicism teaches us to detach from the need for outcomes. You're not here to force a response. You're here to reclaim your power. And silence, that's not passive. It's a discipline. It's not weakness. It's mastery. You don't have to prove anything anymore. You already proved you cared. You already showed up. Now you let the echo do the work, because what they feel in your absence will echo louder than anything you ever said when you were still trying to be chosen. And when the time comes, and it will, they'll hear that echo and realize you didn't disappear. You evolved. You didn't give up. You just stopped lowering yourself. And that will haunt them longer than any goodbye ever could. If you feel this truth in your bones, then anchor it. Go to the comments and write it down like you mean it. I am the echo. That's your new identity. Quiet, powerful, unforgettable. Say it, breathe it, live it. And if your fingers itch to reach for your phone tonight, remember, they already hear you. Number 2, frame withdrawal theory. How silence forces them into your world. There's a quiet kind of power most people never tap into, not because they can't, but because they're too afraid of what will happen when they stop giving, when they stop explaining, checking in, apologizing, chasing, texting, proving. That fear of what if they forget me is what keeps people stuck in someone else's frame. But the second you take your energy back, you'll see exactly how much weight you were carrying for the both of you. And this right here, my friends, is what I call frame withdrawal theory. Let's break this down simply. In every relationship, romantic or not, there's a frame. It's the emotional bubble that holds both people in a shared psychological space. The problem is, most people end up living inside the other person's frame without realizing it. You adapt to their moods. You respond to their coldness. You try to decode their mixed signals. You shrink yourself to avoid setting them off. Slowly, you stop being you and start being a reflection of them. You don't even notice it happening because you think that's just love. But it's not. It's emotional survival. Now here's the shift. The moment you withdraw from that frame, you don't just go silent. You pull them into yours. Why? Because your absence disrupts their feedback loop. They were used to the constant mirror, your reactions, your validation, your consistency. When that mirror disappears, they lose something deeper than comfort. They lose identity clarity. They can't see themselves the same way anymore. And that disorientation? That's when craving begins. You were the mirror that showed them they mattered, that they were wanted, that they were in control. But now they're standing in front of blank space. No likes, no replies, no energy from you to feed off. Suddenly their ego doesn't have a place to lean on, and when the ego loses its favorite mirror, it panics. It starts searching, scanning, reaching but not always outward, sometimes just internally, obsessively, wondering why it doesn't feel as stable as it used to. You might not see them react right away. They might even play it cool. But trust me, that silence is echoing louder for them now than it ever did for you. because for the first time, they're being forced to sit in their own frame. No more emotional handouts, no more auto-validation, just the weight of their own decisions and the uncomfortable feeling of, I don't know what's going on anymore. And you know what's wild? They might even try to spin it in their head. Oh, they're just being petty. They're playing games. But deep down, they know. They know something just shifted. They know they don't have the power they thought they did. They know they underestimated you. Because anyone can chase, anyone can beg, but to stay silent, to hold frame when your emotions are begging for release, that's spiritual strength, that's psychological gravity, and that pulls people in far harder than any text ever could. Some of you might be asking, but isn't this just ghosting? Not even close. Ghosting is avoidance. This is self-command. Ghosting runs from responsibility. This posture holds the line with calm authority. This isn't manipulation. It's alignment. You're not withholding yourself to punish them. You're stepping back because you finally see what you've been giving and what you haven't been receiving. So what happens next? They start feeling that gravitational pull. Little things remind them of you. They see your name in random places. Your silence starts speaking in their dreams. That's not magic. That's psychology. Because people don't miss the loudest voice. They miss the energy that used to show up no matter what, and suddenly doesn't anymore. And if you're wondering why this hurts them more than words ever could, here's the answer. People fear being forgotten way more than being yelled at. At least when you're angry, they know they still exist in your world. But when you go still, when you withdraw, they start to question if they were ever important at all. And that question haunts the ego like nothing else. So if this hits you deep, if you've been giving, proving, chasing, explaining, let this be your moment. It's time to pull your energy back. Let them feel what life's like without your light on. And if you're with me, head to the comments and write this loud and clear. I hold the frame. Say it like you mean it. Because from this moment on, you're no longer bending to fit in their world. You're inviting them to survive in yours. Number 3. Psychic ping technique. Why they suddenly think of you when you let go. Ever noticed how the moment you finally stop thinking about someone, stop texting, stop hoping, they suddenly pop back into your mind? Or worse, they show up out of nowhere. Maybe they like an old story. Maybe they message you after weeks. Maybe a song plays, and somehow it hits different, like a whisper from their direction. You think it's coincidence. It's not. Welcome to what I call the psychic ping technique, and once you understand how it works, you'll never doubt your silence again. Let's break this down simply. Human connections aren't just physical or verbal. They're energetic, psychological, emotional, and whether you believe in vibes or not, your brain is constantly scanning for patterns, especially ones that have suddenly gone missing. When someone we're emotionally tied to pulls away, our mind doesn't just let it slide. It gets activated. It starts scanning, searching, reaching, not consciously but subconsciously. The brain hates unfinished stories. It hates unresolved signals. And when your presence drops to zero, the brain treats it like a missing person alert. Whether they show it or not, your absence pings their psyche like a radar. Now, here's where it gets wild. The moment you truly let go, not pretend, not fake detachment, but genuinely release the emotional charge, something flips. You stop thinking about them, yes, but they start thinking about you. Because the energetic current that once flowed outward toward them now drops. That's silence. It's not quiet, it's a shift. Their brain, once comforted by your consistent emotional broadcast, now senses the frequency is dead. So what happens? Their inner radar sends out a psychic ping. And in that space, your energy becomes louder in your absence than it ever was in your presence. Think about it like this. Imagine standing in a room with low music playing. You don't even notice it until someone hits pause. Suddenly, the silence is so loud, it feels deafening. That's what your emotional detachment does to them. They were used to your warmth, your check-ins, your energy orbiting them. But when you go still, they feel it like a missing heartbeat. You're probably wondering, but how can they feel me if I'm not doing anything? Because the connection wasn't just built on what you said, it was built on what you felt. Emotional bonds don't dissolve instantly. They fade like perfume in the air. Just because you've walked away doesn't mean your absence isn't lingering, and the moment you stop chasing, stop thinking, stop reacting, that's when the shift begins. That's when they start wondering. That's when your name floats up in their brain during the quiet hours, without warning, without reason. But it's not without cause. It's the psychic ping. They might not act on it. They might suppress it, but it hits. In moments they won't admit to anyone. In places they didn't expect. A flash of your laugh. A craving for your comfort. A sudden guilt they can't shake. It could be weeks later, months, doesn't matter. The ping still happens because your silence isn't a disappearance, it's a signal disruption. And when you take your energy back, their system starts glitching. And that's the part they never see coming. They thought you'd always orbit, that you'd always care just a little too much. But now you're off the radar, and ironically, that's what makes them search harder. Want more. Regret deeper. Because nothing shakes a person like the realization that the one who once couldn't let go finally did. So if you're doubting your detachment, don't. You're not invisible. You're unforgettable. Your silence isn't being ignored. It's being felt deeply, psychologically, maybe even spiritually, because you didn't just stop texting. You stopped transmitting, and now they're left with a quiet craving they can't explain. If this hits something in you, don't just feel it, lock it in. Head to the comments and write it down loud. They feel the ping. That's your power now. You moved in silence, and they heard every second of it. Number 4. Scarcity mirage. How pulling back creates the illusion of change. Here's the truth no one ever wants to admit. People don't value what they understand too well. When you're always available, always explaining, always reacting, they stop seeing you. Not because you're unworthy, but because their mind has already filed you under known, predictable, safe. And the human brain? It doesn't crave the known. It craves the uncertain, the rare, the scarce. That's why, the second you stop showing up, something strange starts happening. Not just outside, but deep inside their mind. What you've created is what I call the scarcity mirage, and it's more powerful than anything you ever said or did when you were trying to be enough. When you go quiet, they don't just notice the silence, they fill it in. The same way the brain fills in missing pieces of a blurry picture, they start inventing explanations for your absence. Why haven't they reached out? Did they finally move on? Did I push them too far? That uncertainty makes them start projecting a version of you they never appreciated when you were in front of them. But now they see you as someone who might have changed, someone who's evolved, someone who's slipping out of their grip. And the illusion of change, even when it's just silence, pulls them harder than anything you ever tried when you were begging to be seen. It's like watching a stage magician. You know it's a trick, but you still can't look away. That's what your absence becomes, a mystery, a question mark, and the mind can't stand open loops. So they spin, they fantasize, they wonder, Not because you told them anything, but because you stopped telling them everything. That's the magic of the mirage. You didn't even have to change, you just stopped broadcasting your every emotion, and that alone reshaped how they see you. But here's the best part. This illusion isn't fake. It's earned. Because the truth is, you are changing, you are pulling back, not to manipulate, but to finally reclaim your space. You're no longer trying to be decoded. You're no longer handing over the script to someone who couldn't even read you right the first time. And that shift, that calm, quiet distance, it creates what their ego hates most: uncertainty. People don't chase comfort, they get lazy in comfort. They chase contrast, they chase what feels like a loss. That's why when you're always there, always trying to explain yourself, you become background noise. But the moment you step away, you become a storm cloud on a clear day. You stand out, you become felt again. Even when you say nothing, even when you post nothing, especially then. And yes, this might be the hardest part. Pulling back triggers all your fears. What if they don't notice? What if they move on? What if my silence makes it worse? But the truth is, they only start chasing when they think they might lose you. And loss can't exist without distance. Your silence doesn't push them away. It invites them to step forward, if they're capable. And if they're not, then it was never love. It was just control dressed up as care. This is where your strength is tested, not in speaking louder, but in staying still, not in demanding to be seen, but in letting your absence speak for itself. Because when they can't read you, they can't own you. When they don't know what's going on in your head, they finally start questioning what's going on in theirs. And that inner conflict, that's where attraction lives, not in chaos, but in contrast. So don't break the silence just to remind them you're still around. Let the mirage do its work. Let them chase shadows. Let them realize what they lost before you ever have to say a word. Because sometimes the greatest change you can make is to become unknown again. If you felt that, write this in the comments right now. I became the mystery. Say it like a mantra. Let it burn into your mindset, because you're no longer explaining, proving, or chasing. You are silence, wrapped in curiosity, and they're about to learn what happens when someone like you becomes unavailable. Number 5. Digital devaluation. Why texting? First, makes you emotionally cheaper. Let's talk value, not the fake surface-level kind, but the kind that lives beneath behavior. Because whether you realize it or not, every time you text first, you're broadcasting your price tag, not in words, in energy, in presence. And the more you show up uninvited, unreciprocated, unappreciated, the cheaper that value becomes. This isn't drama. This is digital devaluation, and if you don't understand how it works, you'll keep bleeding, worth every time you hit send. Here's the harsh truth, my friends. Texting is currency, emotional currency, and just like money, it's governed by the laws of supply and demand. When you flood the market with your attention, your check-ins, your just thinking about you messages, you're inflating your emotional currency. And what happens to any currency when it's overprinted? It crashes. Just like that, your messages go from being meaningful to being noise, from high value to expected, from power to passivity. Some of you are still telling yourselves, "But I just want to show I care." I get it, I really do. But here's the kicker. They already know you care. That's not the issue. The issue is they've stopped wondering if you'll stay. They're not anxious, they're not questioning your place, and that kills all tension, all urgency, all pull. When someone knows they can reach for you at any moment, without effort, without loss, without fear, they won't. Why would they? The brain doesn't chase what's guaranteed. It chases what might disappear, what might be taken, what might become rare. So when you text first, especially after rejection or silence, what you're really saying is, I'm still here. I'm still available. You don't have to do anything. I'll keep proving myself for free. And let me ask you, when's the last time anyone respected something they didn't have to earn? You see, in Stoicism, we talk a lot about restraint, about not being ruled by impulse, about choosing virtue over validation. And that's exactly what this moment demands from you, because your impulse to text, it's not love, it's fear. Fear of being forgotten, fear of being left behind. But what if I told you the opposite was true? That holding back your text isn't how you lose them. It's how you make space for them to realize what they lost. That doesn't mean you're playing games. It means you're finally holding yourself to a standard, because if you keep showing up without being invited, you're teaching them they don't have to earn your presence. And over time, even the best of us start treating what's free as worthless. Not out of malice, but out of human psychology. Texting too soon removes the mystery. It tells them they still control the emotional weather between you. It gives them the comfort of knowing you'll always circle back, no matter what they do. And that kills the scarcity effect. That kills the magnetism. You kill you, not literally, but symbolically, when you give away your access too easily. So the next time your fingers itch to reach out, ask yourself, am I adding value by texting right now, or am I giving away what should have been earned? That pause, that restraint, that's emotional self-respect. That's the beginning of being rare again. And if you feel that shift inside you, if you're ready to stop lowering your value just to feel momentarily connected, drop this in the comments right now. I don't chase value. I am the value. Say it like you're reclaiming your price tag. Because from this point on, you're no longer texting out of fear. You're sitting in your power and letting silence speak the language of worth. Number 6. The exposure. Flip. How their guilt needs darkness to grow. Most people think silence is the end, that when you stop speaking, the story closes, and the other person moves on peacefully, guilt-free, untouched. But that's the lie we've been sold. Real guilt. The kind that haunts someone, that crawls into their chest when the lights go out, doesn't grow in clarity. It grows in darkness. It grows in silence. This is what I call the exposure flip, where your silence doesn't protect them from guilt. It exposes them to it. Let me explain. Guilt is a fragile thing. When you confront someone with it directly, when you tell them how much they hurt you, how disappointed you are, how much it broke you, they might look like they're absorbing it, but most of the time, they're just dodging it, rationalizing, minimizing, deflecting. It's self-preservation. Their mind kicks in and starts building defenses. It wasn't that bad. They're overreacting. They'll get over it. And just like that, the guilt shrinks. You gave them the opportunity to justify the damage. But silence doesn't give them that out. It doesn't give them a place to hide or a dialogue to twist. It doesn't give them new data to reinterpret. It just sits there, heavy, empty, waiting, and it forces them to fill in the blanks on their own. And what they fill it with is the truth they've been avoiding. When you stop explaining, they start imagining. When you stop responding, they start reflecting. They hear their own voice louder. The memory of what they did starts playing back, this time without your soft tone or forgiving words to mute the volume. That's the flip. Guilt doesn't need confrontation. It needs space, darkness, time. That's where it breeds. That's where it grows teeth. You might think, but if they haven't said anything, maybe they're fine. Maybe they don't care. No, friend. Silence isn't proof of peace. Silence is where the torment starts. When they can't hear from you, can't access you, can't read you. They don't know if you hate them, miss them, forgot them, or replaced them. That unknown, that's what wrecks the ego. It starves it, because the ego needs confirmation that it's still in control. But now, it's not. And that's when guilt stops being a whisper and starts becoming a scream. There's a reason Carl Jung said, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. Your silence is a mirror to their soul, and it doesn't lie, it doesn't flatter, it doesn't soothe, it just reflects exactly what they did. And that reflection, when seen alone, in the dark, becomes inescapable. They may act unbothered, they may post like they're glowing, but underneath the surface, that quiet eats at them. Especially if you were the one who gave endlessly, loved fully, forgave often. Because guilt isn't just about what they did, it's about realizing who they lost. And without your voice there to dilute the feeling, guilt becomes obsession. They start scanning, watching, replaying, wondering how someone they hurt could just disappear like that. They expect you to come back with your usual softness. When you don't, it shakes something in them. So don't break the silence just to ease their discomfort. Don't give them the chance to wash their hands of the damage they caused. Let the silence teach them what your words never could. Let it do the heavy lifting. Because the guilt that grows in that darkness, that's the kind that leaves a mark. If you're ready to stop giving them a way out, if you finally see the power of silence as accountability, not absence, write this in the comments. Let guilt grow. Let it grow without interruption. Let it gnaw at them the same way the pain gnawed at you. You're not being cold, you're being clear. And in that clarity, they'll face the truth they thought they'd never have to sit with. Number 7. The subconscious contact trap. They're watching, not texting. Just because they haven't texted doesn't mean they're gone. In fact, if you've been silent, if you've pulled back your energy, they've probably already contacted you 10 times or more, just not in the way you're expecting. No words, no confessions, no apologies. But their eyes? Oh, they've been loud. This is what I call the subconscious contact trap. And once you see it, you'll never fall for the illusion of their silence again. You might be checking your phone, thinking they don't care, that your absence didn't make a dent, that your restraint is going unnoticed. But behind that fake calm they're putting on, there's motion, subtle, sneaky, digital. They've been checking your stories, refreshing your profile, lurking in your likes, asking friends about you under the radar. And maybe they don't say your name out loud, but your presence is still echoing through their little behaviors. They're reaching, but only enough to feel something, not enough to own anything. Because that's the trap. They don't want to reach out directly. That would mean swallowing pride. That would mean facing you in full view. Instead, they want you to notice their shadows, to guess their intentions, to decode their breadcrumbs. It's a power play dressed up as coincidence. And if you're not careful, it'll pull you right back into the loop you fought so hard to escape. Here's what's really happening. They're trying to control your awareness without giving you clarity. They're tossing out signals, hoping you'll do what you've always done. Make the first move. Ask if they're okay. Start the conversation. Reopen the door they don't have the guts to knock on. They're testing your silence without breaking their own. And the second you respond, boom, you just confirmed you're still emotionally available. They didn't have to do the work. You gave them what they wanted, without them having to earn it. But Stoicism teaches us to look beyond surface appearances, to act with reason, not impulse. And the truth is, this kind of invisible contact is the most cowardly form of communication. It's the ego reaching without taking responsibility. It's attention-seeking disguised as detachment. They want you to notice. They want you to wonder. They want you to chase the ghost of a signal, but don't fall for it. Don't let someone breadcrumb their way back into your mental space just because they couldn't face you directly. If they're watching, let them watch. Let your silence be the only response they get. Let your peace be the punishment for their indecision. Because you're not here to reward passive behavior. You're not here to chase hints and half messages. You're here to live, grow, evolve. And if they want back in, it better come with real effort, not digital stalking and subtle clues. And let's be honest, deep down, they're not silent because they don't care. They're silent because they do, and they don't know what to do with that. Your stillness has triggered something in them, something they don't want to admit. So they keep watching, keep waiting, keep checking, and they hope you'll break, that you'll make it easier for them. But the second you do, the second you cave, the game resets, and you lose your ground. So stay firm, stay composed, let them sit in the tension they created, let them feel the cost of your absence without a refund of your attention, because what they're doing right now isn't distance, it's passive pursuit. And your silence is forcing them to face themselves, whether they admit it or not. If you feel yourself reclaiming your power right now, then lock it in. Go drop this in the comments like a reminder to your future self. They're watching. I'm not moving. That's the mindset. That's the frame. And that's how you win without saying a word. Number 8. The boomerang window. When they come back, and why you must stay silent until then. They always come back. That's not just a feel-good phrase, it's a psychological pattern, a rhythm wired deep into the human psyche. But the catch is, they don't come back on your timeline. They don't return when you're still begging for closure or checking your phone at midnight, hoping for a name to pop up. They come back when you've stopped reaching, stopped reacting, and stopped interrupting the process. There's a window that opens when you let go. And that window, I call it the boomerang window. If you know how to stay silent through it, the story writes itself. Here's how it works. Every emotional connection goes through phases after separation, not always in words, but always internally. The first phase is detachment. That's when you pull away, when your energy vanishes, when they think they've finally broken you. At first, they might feel relief, freedom, control, but slowly that fades. That space they thought they wanted. It turns cold, empty. And that's when the second phase kicks in, reflection. They start thinking, not just about you, but about what you meant, what they did, what they lost. Then comes curiosity, that I wonder what they're doing stage, that quiet scroll through your socials, that question to a mutual friend, that delayed story view. It's subtle, but it's real, because now they're not just noticing your absence, they're starting to feel unsafe in it. Unsafe because they no longer know where they stand, they no longer know if they matter, and right there, regret enters the room. Regret isn't always loud. Sometimes it hides behind stubbornness, but it festers, grows, swirls in the late-night hours when they realize the game they played didn't work, that you didn't come crawling back. That maybe, just maybe, they overplayed their hand. And after enough of that, comes the reapproach, the text, the call, the reach out, The "hey, I've been thinking" that always lands when you've almost stopped caring. But most people ruin it. They panic. They don't trust the process. They reach out during the curiosity stage or right before regret takes root. And by doing that, they interrupt the natural comeback cycle. They give the other person relief. "Oh, they're still here. I didn't lose them. No need to worry." And just like that, the tension dies. The boomerang window slams shut, and you're right back where you started, giving more than you're getting. But not you. Not this time. You understand that silence isn't waiting. It's witnessing. You're not sitting by the phone. You're building, living, becoming so emotionally self-sufficient that if they ever do return, they'll be coming back to someone they don't even recognize anymore. That's how you become unreplaceable. Not by reminding them constantly that you care, but by showing them through absence that you were the rarest thing they ever touched. And they fumbled it. And don't get it twisted. This isn't revenge. It's rhythm. It's how human emotion works. People don't miss what's still available. They miss what slipped away while they were too busy thinking they could do better. So give them the silence. Give them the space. Not for them, but for you. Because if you break now, if you chase now, if you text now, you won't just reset the dynamic. You'll never know if they were truly coming back. Let the boomerang window open. Let it do what it does best. Let time, silence, and absence rearrange their view of you. Let their mind do the work. Because when it finally snaps back, when their pride folds, when they realize what they lost, you won't need to prove anything. The silence already spoke for you. And here's the bottom line. If you've made it this far, you already know the truth. Silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Pulling back isn't giving up, it's leveling up. They will feel it. They will think of you, and if they're meant to, they'll come back. But only if you stop chasing what's already watching you. So if this opened your eyes, do me a favor. Like this video, subscribe for more brutally honest truths, and share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Stay silent, stay powerful, and always remember, you hold the frame now.